The story begins with a girl who's forced to move to a new place due to her father's new job. Her name is Yui Komori. As she arrives, she sees a mysterious mansion, and when she knocks on the door, it suddenly opens, which surprises her. As she steps into the dimly lit hall, she sees a boy sleeping on the couch. When she goes to him, she finds that his heart has stopped beating. Panicked, she tries to call the ambulance for help, but he snatches her phone and pulls her, and then pushes her down onto the couch. He tells her that she is too noisy and licks her neck before going for a bite, but another boy comes there and stops him. He asks her what she is doing in this mansion. She tries to reply that her father has sent her to live here. Suddenly, another boy comes there and unexpectedly licks her cheek. Then another boy appears who also licks her too, just like she is an ice cream. Yui gets irritated by this, but she is helpless. Suddenly, another white-haired boy comes there, who angrily punches on the wall. Seeing this, Yui gets confused, but another sleepy boy explains that the church has sent her to live with them. She has been chosen as the next sacrificial bride, so they introduce themselves. Reiji, Shuu, Ayato, Laito, Kanato, and Subaru, the 6 vampire brothers. Horrified by what she's hearing, Yui tries to call her father, but Subaru crushes her phone with his bare hand. Seeing this, Yui tries to run away, but trips and hurts herself. Seeing her blood, the fangs of all the brothers come out, her scent has awakened their thirst. Yui understands that all the brothers are actually vampires. Understanding her situation, she tries to stop them by rosary, but they laugh and ask she seriously believes a fairy tale written by mortals. Hearing this, she gets scared and runs out of an empty room. There she finds an old photo of herself as a child with her father and his diary. After reading the diary, she comes to know that she was adopted. Suddenly, all the vampire brothers come there and surround her. Their eyes glow red with hunger and forcefully try to suck her blood. This overwhelming fear causes Yui to faint. The next day, when she wakes up, she finds herself in a room. She immediately checks her neck for bite marks and is relieved to find out that she wasn't bitten. Just then, Laito comes there and tries to show his riz, but Ayato also comes there and starts fighting with him over who gets to taste her blood first. Meanwhile, Reiji arrives there and scolds them both, then turns to Yui and calmly tells her to get ready for her new school. As they leave, she thinks that it is a chance to go back to the abandoned room to check on her father's diary. However, when she opens the door, she finds Ayato, who tells her if she needs help with changing. In response, Yui angrily slams the door and shouting, "No thanks." At night, they all go to school in a big black car. Yui notices they sit in complete silence and not talk to each other at all. Reiji then hands her cranberry juice and tells her to drink it. It will help prevent anemia so that her blood stays tasty for longer and those people can enjoy her blood for a long time. At school, Yui finds out she is in Ayato and Kanato's class, where Ayato forces her to make takoyaki for him. After eating, Ayato corners her and tells her that he has been holding his thirst since yesterday and he cannot hold back any longer, and without warning forcefully sinks his fangs into her neck and begins sucking her blood. He finds Yui's blood quite delicious. Yui tries to stop him, but he admits that he falls in love with her and again starts sucking more and more blood. Just as she's about to faint, he then throws her into the water. Yui doesn't know how to swim, and she starts drowning. Seeing her drowning, it reminds Ayato of his childhood, where he too was drowning in water, so he also goes into the water to save Yui and kisses her. He tells her she belongs to only him. After rescuing Yui, he leaves from there without any word. That night, Yui again sneaks into the same empty room to reread her father's diary, hoping to find answers. However, when she opens it, she finds it completely blank. Yui is perplexed that everything that was written there just vanished, as if no one had even written in it. Frustrated and heartbroken, she returns to her room and prepares to sleep. Out of nowhere, she hears a voice, who's asking her what she's doing. She turns around and finds Ayato is sitting on a chair in her room. She tries to ignore him, but he grabs her wrist and tries to force himself on her. She claims she needs to go bathe, hoping to escape, but Ayato doesn't let her go and forcefully starts sucking her blood from her chest. Because of this, Hickey's kiss marks are formed on the chest of Yui. After that, Yui goes to take a bath, only to find Shuu already in the bathtub. He starts sleeping inside, so she tries to help him out by holding his hand, but this triggers a childhood memory of Shuu, where we see that a village burning down from his past, and a boy giving a hand to Shuu. But Yui's voice brings him back as she says that he's hurting her. He then pulls Yui inside the bathtub. He comes close to her and orders her to let him suck her blood. Yui tries to stop him, but he doesn't listen, and he gleefully drinks her blood. He was also captivated by the unique flavor of her blood. She is getting excited. Shuu teasingly calls her a dirty girl because her temperature is rising because of fangs in her throat. After that, Yui goes back to her bedroom, where Ayato is waiting for her on her bed, once again intending to suck her blood. She firmly tells him it's not a good time, but Ayato lunges forward anyway, determined to drink her blood. However, he freezes the moment when he notices the bite mark on her neck, proof that Shuu has already fed on her. Infuriated, Ayato goes to fight him and challenges Shuu to a game of darts, declaring that the winner will claim Yui as their prize. Suddenly, Laito also comes there, and he wants to see who will win the little bitch. At first, Shuu shows no interest, but when Reiji arrives and mocks him for being indifferent, Shuu, irritated by the insult, accepts the challenge. With little effort, Shuu easily defeats Ayato, but he starts to leave without taking his prize. Just then, Laito pushes her into Shuu and she crashes into him, but he shows no interest in her. He tells her flatly that mortals are nothing more than food, and she should have realized that by now. With a final detached warning, "Don't even dream of touching my heart," clearly showing that he has been hurt by some humans in the past. The next day at school, Yui sees a telephone and rushes toward it, desperate to call for help, but before she can, suddenly Kanato appears. Seeing Kanato, she gets scared and asks why he's still at school. Kanato answers that he is here because he and his teddy are thirsty, so Yui tries to please him by bringing coffee. However, Kanato angrily throws away the coffee and scolds Yui that he hates bitter things. A few moments later, he calms down and asks Yui if the coffee splashed on her finger and slowly licks her fingers. Kanato then asks her if she hates him or she wants to learn more about him, but he changes his mind and leaves from there. But to punish her, he puts her bag on the terrace. So she went on the rooftop to grab her bag. There she hears Laito's voice, who is standing there. Laito looking at the sky and talking to himself about a woman that he still loves her and can't forget, but he quickly senses someone presence and immediately goes near her and says that we vampires become more thirsty on nights like this, and they become so terribly thirsty. They are driven mad and need to quench that thirst. He then licks her neck and starts sucking her blood. She stops him by pushing back and runs away to a nearby phone booth. Yui quickly dials her father's number for help, but to her horror, it's Laito who picks up the phone on the other end. Panic Yui runs from there, but Laito easily catches her. She struggles to free herself. At the moment, he hears his father's name on the television news. Who is the foreign minister of that country? Yui also recognizes him, and she whispers, "Karl Heinz." Then she faints. This surprises Laito. He questions, "Just who are you?" The next day, Yui finds the door of the mansion is open. Without wasting time, she runs away and comes to a nearby church. There, she desperately prays to God for help, but instead of peace, Laito also comes there. He laughs cruelly for seeking help from God and tells her to not waste her time because God is just nonsense created by humans. There is no God. He then comes closer to her and starts forcing himself on her. But Yui pushes him back and says she still believes in God, whatever vampires think of God. Laito again comes closer to Yui and tells her he is here to expose her, and forcefully pushes her down onto a table adorned with flowers. As she struggles, he slowly begins taking off her clothes, then gently bites her thigh and starts drinking blood. As she lies there in anguish, he whispers the truth. "The church you trusted so much, they're the ones who offered you to us." As a sacrifice to those vampire brothers, despair fills Yui's eyes. After listening to Laito's words, the church on which she was hoping for help has actually betrayed her. Laito then continues his torture and invites her to follow him down to hell. The next day, Yui is cutting roses in the garden. Her mind is still haunted by what Laito revealed in the church, about her being offered as a sacrifice for them by the church that she had faith in. Suddenly, Kanato appears there and orders her to gather the flowers and follow him. Yui hesitates a bit, but Kanato coldly says that he doesn't like to be kept waiting. After that, he takes Yui to a graveyard. Yui asks why they are here, to which he replies that graveyards are so dark and full of the smell of death. He then points out that the grave in front of them is his mother's grave. Kanato tells her he likes graves because they're cold and quiet, indifferent to pain. He also asks his teddy if he agrees. Kanato then asks her to lay flowers on the grave. As she does so and turns to leave, Kanato's mood shifts. He then starts hitting the bouquet of roses on the grave in a fit of rage, yelling at her for trying to escape. Seeing this psychodrama, Yui backs up, but trips, to which Kanato laughs cruelly, telling her, "Lousy mortal, you look so pathetic now," and tells her to crawl around in the dirt some more and cry like the pathetic girl she is. "Maybe then I'll possibly forgive you." Tears in her eyes, Yui apologizes and Kanato calls her sweet girl. He then goes on top of Yui and kisses her and gleefully starts sucking her blood. She tries to tell him to stop, but he just says that he won't let her go anywhere. After some time, she's stumbling back to the mansion, weak and disoriented. A mysterious man is seen standing out the residence, apparently watching her. Subaru then asks what he is doing here, and he asks, won't he call him uncle? But Subaru tells him to shut up and get lost. A strong wind then blows, and he disappears, saying that the awakening will manifest without awaiting its time. Subaru then turns to look at Yui and repeats what he just said. After going inside, Yui hears some noises from the next room. She sees Reiji asleep inside the room, but seemingly having a nightmare. She then touches his shoulder, which wakes him. He can't believe that he woke up to the scent of her blood. She then asks if she can help him about his nightmare. So he calmly prepares himself a cup of tea. Looking out the window, something reminds him of an old memory. Without explanation, he pours a cup for Yui as well. But something is mixed in that tea. As soon as she drinks it, the cup slips from her hand and falls. So Reiji immediately offers her a strange medicine. Upon drinking it, she collapses. Her hand begins to bleed. At the sight of her blood, Reiji's cold mask slips. His thirst surges. Driven by instinct, he slams her against the wall and sinks his fangs into her, drinking with terrifying pleasure. Yui somehow stops him, but he angrily scolds her. "Stop resisting! You are nothing more than containers of blood," and that despite her position as a worthless container. He overpowers her and starts sucking her blood with pleasure. Then, we see a flashback which shows Reiji in a field, and his mother telling him that she finally witnessed his full abilities, and that she was hoping it would be him that killed her, and that she is satisfied shows her dying. He then asks why she died smiling, because he wanted her to die suffering, not having any peace. He then tells Yui that he will not allow her to die without suffering. The next day, Yui steps out onto the mansion's balcony after hearing someone singing a sweet song she carried by the wind. There she finds Kanato was singing a song, sitting on the railing. Yui gets worried about him, so she asks him to get down immediately, but demands a kiss in return. Yui hesitates, unsure how to respond. Kanato, amused by her reaction, suddenly leans backward and intentionally falls from the balcony. Panicked, Yui runs downstairs only to find him lying on the ground, completely unharmed. She asks him to wake up, but he orders her not to disturb his sleep. He asks her to go with him to a place, so they both come to a deserted room, where was mannequins of girls in wedding dresses standing everywhere. Kanato then asks her if she too would like to become like those soulless mannequins. Hearing this, Yui starts running away from there in fear, but Kanato forces her to the wall and starts drinking her blood. He then tells her that all those lifeless mannequins were once sacrificial brides just like her. Saying this, he starts strangling Yui. Luckily, Ayato comes there to save Yui. Seeing which, Kanato leaves from there. She is somehow going back to her room. On the way, she meets Subaru, who asks her to run away from there and save her life. Without a second, Yui goes to her room to pack bag, but when she sees her childhood photo with her father, she decides to stay in the mansion to find out the truth. Seeing her coming back empty-handed, Subaru understands her decision and gives her a silver knife for self-protection. Any vampire can be killed with this silver knife with one just stab to the heart. To the She takes the knife and goes back to the room, where Laito is already waiting for her. Although Yui has a silver knife, but he shows no fear. He, approaching her slowly, leans close, prepared to suck Yui's blood. But when she says that she will always trust God to help her, hearing this, Laito has second thoughts, and he does not suck her blood. One night, Yui peeps out of her room's window and sees a woman with purple hair outside. Seeing her, she immediately faints on the floor. After this, she starts sleepwalking and somehow goes into the world of childhood memories of those vampire brothers there. She again sees the purple-haired woman who happens to be the mother of Ayato, Kanato, and Laito. She lets Laito and Kanato to play, but cruelly forces Ayato to study or else she will reject him. Then the vision shifts to another place. There Yui sees Reiji as a boy, who quietly reading a book beside his mother, Beatrix, who sewing. Yui wonders if that is Reiji. She then notices a young Shuu holding a puppy. Beatrix gets up and asks Shuu what he's doing there. She tells Shuu that he is the eldest son and therefore the next head of the family, and that he needs to learn how to conduct himself at all times, and orders to her butler to take care of it. Poor Shuu lets go the puppy. He runs away. Reiji looks on and tells her that he finished memorizing the entire book, but she just ignores him and goes back to sewing. Then the scene again changes. We sees she is on a bridge near a tower lined with white roses. She starts walking again and notices a young Subaru looking up at the tower and sees a woman in the window, and she just turns away. Subaru puts his head down and drops the knife. Yui then sees Cordelia talking with Richter. He tells her that she is the most beautiful and elegant being alive, and that all things exist to love her, and kisses her hand. And she tells him that she would like him to always stay by her side, just to whisper your sweet nothings. Ayato also looking at them with angry look in his face. Then Cordelia turns to look at Yui, and there is pain starts in her heart, and she collapsed. When she wakes up from her dream and she finds Ayato is already there to suck her blood, then Laito also comes there, and both brothers feast on the poor human bride's blood. The next day, Yui goes to Laito and asks about the lady with purple hair. Hearing this, there is silence in the room. Suddenly, Ayato and Kanato also come there, and then Ayato tells she was Cordelia, his mother. Then we see a flashback, a red moon outside, and Cordelia is screaming. She is standing on the stairs of the main hall, apparently wounded. She backs up a bit, and we see parts of Ayato's clothes soaked in blood. He then says that they are soaked in her blood and then licks his hand. Ayato says that her blood is so delicious and he wants more. Cordelia gets scared and runs away from there and begs for Laito to save her. She says that Ayato is torturing her. He seems somewhat surprised, but says he knew this would happen sooner or later. So Laito tells her to hide near the window of the same empty room. When he comes back, he asks if she loves him more than anyone else, and she says yes. She loves him, and she means it. Then she gives her bloody hand to him, but Laito coldly pushes her through the window. She falls down in the bush of the bed of roses, her condition becoming like death. He looks over and says, "Now, mother, you only belongs to me for eternity." Then Kanato comes there with a candelabrum, walks over to her body and asks her, "What's wrong, mother? Why there is a whole urine chest?" He then tells her that he'll warm her up and set a fire at his mother's dead body and ask her if it is getting warmer, and he still watches and laughing like a crazy weirdo. After hearing that, Yui runs through the garden and she trips. She is visibly shaken and says that she hates this place and she can't stand it anymore. At that moment, Subaru appears there. He coldly tells her, "You should have run when you had the chance." Yui looks up at him. Through her confusion and fear, she asks if he knew what the triplets did to their own mother. He asks if he did and starts walking away. She then asks why he gave her that knife and tries to grab his arm, but he tells her not to touch him and that if she comes one step closer, he'll destroy her. He'll not only break her body, but her mind as well, and punch some of the nearby white roses. Seeing the roses, Yui then asks if the woman locked in the tower was his mother. He angrily asks what she knows and grabs her hand tightly and asks what she expects from someone as powerless, hideous, and polluted as he is. Yui is confused, but before she can respond, Subaru pulls her closer, almost as if he's hugging her. She questioningly says his name, but Subaru lowers down to her neck, pulls some of her hair away, and bites her. He stops for a moment and says, "Her blood is so sweet," before biting her again. She tries to stop, but he tells her to shut up and be quiet before pulling the left side of her shirt away, sniffing her skin, then bites her left arm. He stops again and says that she asked him why he gave her that silver knife, because he wanted her to stab him with it. She again tries to stop him, but he says that she has no right to refuse, just as in the same way that she can't deny him her blood, and then she faints. After that, we see Yui in her bed. She feels something come on the bed. She turns to find Ayato, but he tells her not to look at him and puts his arm around her and tells her not to disobey him, and then he falls asleep. Elsewhere in the same dark night, the vampire's uncle, Richter, looking over the lake and telling Cordelia that they will meet again soon, and tells she must wake up soon. Then we see Yui waking up and having chest pains and wondering what's wrong with her. Later on, Yui comes to an abandoned church where she finds Shuu reading a book. She tells him that she hears a woman's voice these days and she can't even sleep properly. Hearing her words, Shuu comes to Yui and knocks her down and bites her neck and gleefully sucks her blood. Shuu finds Yui's blood a bit changed. He tells Yui that the awakening is going to happen to her soon, and then again starts drinking her blood, enjoying himself until Yui asks him about awakening. So he tells her that no sacrificial bride has survived to the point of awakening. When she hears sacrificial bride, she remembers what the brothers had said when she first arrived. She then asks him the real reason why she's here, and if her father has a strong connection to the Sakamakis. But Shuu gets up and says that he'll answer her questions. Suddenly, a man walks into the church. Yui asks who he is, so Shuu introduces him as Richter, their uncle. Yui then remembers seeing him when she was in the past, talking to Cordelia. After that, Shuu picks up his music book and leaves. Without wasting any time, Yui directly asks him why she was chosen, as well as why her father was involved with sacrificial brides. So Richter explains to her that she came to this house because she's of suitable bridal age, and because she was the easiest mortal to obtain. There is nothing special about it, bitch. Hearing those, Yui thanked God that her father had nothing to do with it, but suddenly a sharp pain pierces her chest. Seeing her agony, Richter smiles and raises his hand toward her, calling out to Cordelia, his darling. Using his powers, he mind controls Yui and leads her to a secret room. There we see dead. Cordelia's blood-stained dress is present in this room. He tells that there is no need to hesitate because the dress belongs to her. So Yui touches the dress, but instantly Cordelia's spirit takes over Yui's body. Immediately, all the vampire brothers sense that something is wrong. Their dead mother is somehow alive again. Sometimes later, Ayato approaches the two and asks about Cordelia being in Yui's body, but Cordelia leaves without answering the question. So Richter then reveals the truth. Before Cordelia died, she told him to remove her heart from her body and preserve it. When the right time comes, he should put his heart in a suitable body. He uses magical swords to take out Cordelia's heart so that one day he will bring her back to life. Richter further states that Cordelia has not yet fully controlled Yui's body, but that she will soon be able to fully control her. After that, Ayato goes to meet Cordelia at the dock, and then he pushes Cordelia into the water. Cordelia begins to drown in the water, despite being an excellent swimmer. By regaining control of her body, Yui seeks Ayato's help coming out of the water, so Ayato brings her out of the water. After that, he starts sucking her blood. Ayato enjoys the taste of her blood so much that he starts sucking Yui's blood like a lunatic. He leans down and demands that she devote her blood and life to him. Just as he's about to kiss her, Laito and Kanato arrive there by smelling the scent of Yui's blood. Seeing Yui, both brothers get excited just thinking about it and licks his lips hungrily. Terrified, Yui runs into the forest, and Ayato blocks their path so they won't follow her. She reaches the mansion and takes out a silver knife. Just then, Subaru appears and tells her to stop emitting such a tempting scent. He grabs her from behind and bites her shoulder hard and starts sucking her blood like a maniac. He pauses only to comment on how delicious her blood is and promises that she'll truly feel his fangs. Then bites her again. Weak from blood loss, Yui collapses onto the bed. Subaru gives the knife to Yui and leaves from there. Later, Richter appears and tells Yui that ever since her awakening began, her blood has become irresistibly tasty. It's so tempting that it could even cause a fight between the brothers, and someone can even die. Scared, Yui asks what she should do, so Richter tells her to clear her mind, accepts her fate, and sends her to the window where Cordelia is waiting for her there. By taking Cordelia's hand, Yui fully relinquishes control of her body. Richter approaches, declaring that the time for complete awakening has finally arrived. When Yui opens her eyes again, they are no longer hers, they're Cordelia's. Sharp, green, and cat-like eyes. They both go to the upper part of the living room, speaking with Richter, who is sitting nearby. Meanwhile, Reiji also appears on the lower part, surprised to see them. He recalled that his uncle had a visitor, but never expected it to be her. Seeing Reiji, Cordelia greets him casually, saying it's been a long time and says not to be so standoffish, come closer. Reiji becomes annoyed, listens as she taunts him, claiming that Beatrix didn't seem to love him as much as she loves Shuu, as he tries to say something, but she silences his mouth with a sweet kiss. Afterwards, he tells her not to toy with him. In response, she teases that she's becoming interested in him, as a man he is. But Reiji is a Sigma male. He rejects her, stating he has no interest in corrupt women with loose morals. She gets angry and slaps him like every rejected high school girls. Then Laito steps in, urging everyone to stop fighting because they're family, after all. So one by one, all the brothers come there. Subaru tells them all to shut up and leave because none of them belongs here, and tells them to get lost. So Richter mocks Subaru, saying for someone who couldn't protect his own mother, he's putting on quite the show. Subaru gets mad and jumps on the railing near Richter and tries to punch him, but he grabs his hand and twists it. Then he tries to kick him, but he dodges, and Subaru jumps back down. Richter then challenges them all to a fight. Hearing this, Shuu laughs and gets off the couch and says that Karl-Heinz, their father, the head of the family, he doesn't even register him as worthy of being called a rival. But bored Cordelia interrupts them and says, is this the best entertainment they can provide? Calling them dull, she then hands a silver knife to Richter and orders him to kill all the brothers. A single blow to the heart from this knife would kill any one of them instantly. In return, she promises to give him anything he desires and tells him to hurry up and kill those boys. But Richter calls her a fool because she is useless to him. Now, she is in less than pristine condition. What he truly needs is her heart. He grabs her and tries to drink her blood to become head of the family. Just then, Ayato appears and stops him from drinking Yui's blood. Furious Richter attacks Ayato with a sword, so Laito throws a sword to Ayato and tells Richter his free ride is over and he'll make him regret coming here. Their swords clash, but Richter pushes Ayato back and stabs him in the left shoulder. Seeing Ayato bleeds, Yui takes back control of her body, so Richter again raises his sword to kill Ayato, but is shocked to see Yui conscious. Yui picks up a nearby knife and stabs herself in the chest. Enraged Richter screams that her heart belongs to him and swings his sword at them, but Ayato stabs him in the midsection and falls down on the ground. Ayato yells at Yui, telling her to open her eyes, but this time Cordelia returns, saying only a foolish girl would stab herself and calls it a joke. She continues by saying that her death and full awakening are only a matter of time, and both her body and soul will all be hers, and her eyes shut again. Subaru takes out the knife from Yui's chest. Kanato notices slowly her face begins to turn white. The scene then shifts to Richter, who's now in the underground waterway, bleeding from the wound Ayato gave him. He mutters that he cannot die yet and limps toward a spiral staircase. Meanwhile, Reiji starts looking for some solution in the books that shows genetic material to save Yui. She starts wailing in pain. Shu's reply is that the awakening is probably about to start. Kanato then asks if there is no precedent for an ordinary mortal woman to awaken with the powers of a vampire. Shuu agrees, saying that no vessel has ever endured the process. But Ayato says this time is different because Yui has Cordelia's heart. Elsewhere, Laito finds the injured Richter and asks what he hoped to achieve by trying to become the new head of the family. Richter gets angry and asks Laito he seriously believes that he tells the truth so easily and says the truth is not as simple as he thinks it is. Reiji finally creates a potion that could save Yui, but this medicine is not completely ready yet. He needs a part of Cordelia to complete the medicine. Without hesitation, Kanato tears apart his beloved teddy bear, revealing a hidden bottle of Cordelia's blood. When Cordelia's blood is added in, the medicine is completely ready. Then the scene again shifted to Richter, where Laito tells him never to mess with them again, but Richter cryptically says they all share an inescapable destiny. Laito didn't have any idea of what he is talking about, so, without wasting any time, he throws Lantern with a green flame on the floor that surrounds Richter and the Cordelia's old dress. Laito says goodbye and hopes he'll see Richter in hell and walks out of the room. On the other hand, Ayato makes Yui drink the medicine from his mouth. At first, nothing happens, but after a moment, Yui regains consciousness. She opens her eyes and says she feels incredibly thirsty for some reason. Her awakening is complete, and she may have become a vampire. After this, we see Yui standing at the balcony, looking over the rose garden, holding a single rose in her hand. Suddenly, Ayato approaches and gently returns her rosary, and she thanks him. In the final scene, we see that Reiji is putting a lock with chains around the door to the secret room and seal it for good. But that's the end of today's video. If you want the continuation, leave it in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel with the bell activated so you don't miss the next anime stories. Leave a like. It will help the channel a lot. I really appreciate it, guys. That's it. We'll see you on my next video. Bye.